That's great. I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, well, there may be a few more people that come on, but I think we can probably uh, start. For those of you who have not met Sara, please meet Sara, Sara Elise, who is, a, I would say, not your average astrologer. You're so much more, and I have learned so much from you in the past while working with you. And I love that, one of the first things you said to me was like, you help people to love who they are and love their life. So, and I think that, especially with the full moon, some people might be having trouble loving their life at the moment. I think, I think that this has been a challenging time for quite a few people. I myself included, and I think I don't want to overspeak, but I know you've had some stuff come up too. So anybody who's tuning in and is wondering about this vortex that we seem to be in, you're not alone. There's a lot to process, and of course we will get to talking about the yang phase that we're in, and but over to Sara. Let's talk about this lovely full moon experience.
It's amazing to me that the reason why I like to do a moon journal is because it feels so different as you move through the cycle, right? And the way we feel right now is totally different than we felt 2 weeks ago at the new moon of Libra, which was such a gentle, peaceful, beautiful opening. And right now we're just in the midst of some real tension. I think tension would be the appropriate word for the new moon energy. As you guys are probably aware, the lunar cycle is simple in and of itself, right? Because the moon, the sun, the earth, they're all in this relationship. But we have an entire solar system of entities that correspond to our own internal reality and that correspond to our sociocultural reality and our collective reality. So it's not just always as simple. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I'm just going to ignore that doorbell. It's not always as simple as it's the full moon, right? You have to take into account where all of the other planets are in the sky and what's being asked of us on a collective level as well. And right now we have some real indicators that suggest there's a lot of conflict, strife, confrontation, and that we may be actually having some stuff brought up for us to see that perhaps feels a little difficult for us to transform, maybe old beliefs, perhaps even structural limitations that we perceive on the outside of us, because sometimes the stuff that's inside is harder for us to see than the stuff that's outside. So reality will reflect whichever of the two dimensions we're most comfortable with accessing.
And I was going to say, I'm really interrupting, but can anybody relate to what Sara is talking about? Yeah, I think that's part of what Moonbite is about, is feeling the collective energy together, and realizing that most of us are going through this, even if you might not be aware of it, which is really interesting to me that, like, we're so isolated. Even if COVID is opening up, but we all feel like our own little islands. And it's not just you. It's not all about you. But back to you, Sara. I just wanted
to interrupt. Your interruptions are always so perfect, Graydon. I really appreciate your interruptions, honestly. And you're beautifully intuitive yourself, because what you just said is actually the resolution point to the tension that we're feeling today. There are only really two ways to get out of it. Number one is to feel our emotions and cry it out. I mean, that's always like an opportunity to just kind of get it out of our body. But the other resolution point, as indicated by the structure of the system right now, is through community and through a vision of the future that enables all of us to move together and a vision of the future that brings something higher in. So the confrontations we're having right now are really structural, and they're really about old paradigms, and they're really about limitations that probably we've faced before. They probably feel very familiar to us at some level, right? Like stuff is probably coming up that's like, why is this back? Why am I feeling this way again? And the invite is to create a relationship with the future that involves something better for all of us, and that acknowledges the fact that we're all part of a collective and we're all evolving together. So it's wonderful that you just said that, and I think it's so important for us to get together and talk about this stuff openly, because we don't have to be limited by the past. It really is at some level an illusion, and the way you react to life and the way you have in the past doesn't have to determine or define the way you react to life in the future. And one of the things I talked about in my newsletter this morning was, as I'm a little bit more of a mystical astrologer, I'm an esoteric astrologer, so I bring in a lot of the people who are drawn to my work are people who are on a bit more of a spiritual path or a bit more of an ascension path. And one of the big messages that came to me this morning was reminding me of the importance of prayer, or reminding me of the importance of connecting up on our own divine line and universalizing our energy, which is, I guess, also could be said like collectivizing our energy, right? Connecting up and out, reaching out to other people, reaching up to our higher self and our guides, asking for help outside of the myopia of our own inner suffering or our own inner conflict. And these are the reparations, or these are the remedies that are offering themselves today. So that's nice. But just to put that out there, just to kind of create that foundation that I know we're all feeling a lot of intense energy today. And that is often typical of a full moon. And so I'll bring it back just into the pure form of the cycle right now. At the full moon, we have obviously the moon is on one side of the earth and the sun is on the other. So at the point of greatest darkness, we are getting the maximum reflection of light onto the planet that is possible. And at the full moon, we have literally 3 times more light coming onto the planet than at any other time of the cycle. So it's a lot of energy that is coming onto the planet all the time. Don't forget, just because it is not nighttime, the same amount of energy is being reflected and beamed back at us 24/7 for the entire rotation, for the entire day of the full moon, right? So it's not, we may see it at night, but it's happening right as we speak. And when this illumination happens, what we do is we look back to the seed that we planted at the new moon. And at this time, what we are able to see is the culmination of what has happened to that seed. So the invitation at the full moon, it's a yang cycle. So we have to do something, right? Remember, we're getting kind of used to this language now. At the yang cycle, we take action. And the action that is being asked of us is to recognize and see what that actual seed has become and what it was capable of becoming. Sometimes when we see it, there is like a, yes, celebrate, this is awesome, I did it. There's like this feeling of crossing the finish line. And at that point, you want to take the time to celebrate and say thanks and just have fun with what it is you've manifested. And at other times, what comes up for us can be an awareness of the places where we weren't able we weren't able to bring that seed, quote unquote, into the fullness that we were hoping for. And an awareness and an illumination, it's a point of illumination at the full moon of what are the things in us that may have held us back, or that may need changing, or that may need releasing as we move toward the next cycle, right? Because manifestation is a gradual process that happens over time. Yes, Graydon.
I just thought I would backtrack a little bit. I know there are a few people who haven't been able to tune in before, so just wanted to recap briefly that I guess this was 3 weeks ago. We talked about creating intention with like like what you want to manifest, and just how, so Sarah's talking about that journey between then and now. And I just didn't know if that was clear for everybody.
Yeah, if anybody is curious about it, this partnership between me and Graydon has kind of sparked an offering. So I'm going to be doing a 4-week series of classes next month, just to take us through the lunar cycle with more depth.
Yeah.
It'll be about an hour to an hour and a half classes, and we'll get together and we'll just talk about this stuff way more and deeply. So if you want to be immersed in it, I'm sure that Graydon, well, or Natalie can share the link to my website.
Yeah,
I've kept the pricing really affordable, and just wanted to offer that up as if any of you are curious and you want to go a bit deeper with it. Okay.
And I'll just say that what I've learned from Sara in the past while, it's so subtle, but it's also really insightful, and can be really deep in the sense that I think it's hard for all of us to navigate life at the moment. There's no handbook to life, and it's just getting a little bit more connected to the energy around us, and not feeling almost just like a victim, like life is happening to me, that I can be more a participant in the life that I want to create. And just noticing the subtle shifts in terms of relationships around me, like on a personal level and even with a team level. So I'm definitely interested in learning more, because I do, speaking about what I said before, I think we can all feel kind of alone and just like, what the heck am I doing here?
And let's say at an Aries full moon, I think feeling alone is kind of the name of the game, right? Is like we are facing and we are being what is being illuminated is our aloneness right now, and how we're dealing with that, right? And how we are like stepping into ourself and beyond the limitations that we may perceive, so that we can be the self that we want to be in relationship with the other. So that our relationships can be strong. And there are two people in every relationship, right? But today's full moon is about the me that I am in the relationship dynamic, and who am I going to choose to be. I really enjoyed that expression, Graydon. Thank you.
Thank you. I actually have another question, and I also did want to say, like, if any of you want to actually speak up, I think it's a bit of a smaller group today, so this can be a dialogue. Of course, we don't have a ton of time, but there will be a question period afterwards. So please don't be shy. One of the things I really like about working with Sara is, our chats are very spontaneous. It's kind of like girlfriend chatting, but very informed content, not gossipy chatty chat. But I think you're very approachable, Sara, and you help to balance like technical content with like real, and marry that to like real life that people are navigating. So speaking of which, my perception is with the full moon that there also seems to be a correlation to our cycle. And I think that they are mostly women here, some in different stages of their life, but certainly there can be a lot of PMSing going on before a full moon. And even if you are in perimenopause or post like menopause, there's still a connection there. So I think it doesn't really matter how young or old you are. This is a relevant thing. And I was just wondering if you could comment on that, because I think that's always been a confusing thing for me.
Well,
I'd love to better understand that.
The full moon, like the moon is so powerful. It pulls the tides of our ocean. It pulls the water inside us. And it makes sense that it also pulls our menstrual cycle. Yeah. Right. When we sync up with nature in a really strong way, and women, traditionally would menstruate together at the full moon. Mm-hmm. Sometimes my cycle moves, it sort of fluctuates between full and new, actually. It kind of goes back and forth a little bit. But full does tend to be the predominant For sure. And it makes sense as well. You know, the emotion is so heightened at the full moon. There's just so much astral energy and we go so wild. Like it's really difficult almost to keep a hold of ourselves in a sense, to keep in alignment or to keep contained. And perhaps there's even an invitation to completely let go, right? Like to allow yourself into the wildness and to allow yourself to sort of feel the shedding or feel like the fully immersive experience of being in your wild feminine energy, you know, as you're menstruating and letting go and shedding. And the full moon is the culmination of the cycle. It's when we start to go from now, like from this and from this point on, we will begin what's called the waning cycle. And that is when the moon will start to become smaller and smaller. So it is a really beautiful point of climax that leads into a denouement or that leads into a release. And it seems like an ideal kind of metaphor for having your menstruation, you know, having your menstrual period, or even just having it immediately after the full moon, which is probably what's more common.
Right.
I mean, if I can just highlight one comment, Margaret said in the chats, which I thought was really quite illuminating, but the seed I thought I planted is not what has grown to this point. The moon had other ideas about what I need. So
I saw that comment and it's true. It is like the moon will illuminate what we need to let go of to move back toward it in a later cycle. So this is a progressive phase evolution. And so if you weren't able to complete the seed at this point, there's a reason. And right now you should be able to see what that is. So at the full moon point, the action that we want to take is twofold. Number one, we celebrate what is. We are like it's a party. We can celebrate our success. And number two, we acknowledge and we choose to let go of what is no longer serving us. And there are full moon rituals that you can do. For instance, Margaret, if you can see what it is that is holding you back, and that is there a way that you can write out the things that you want to let go of, or the things that you are releasing, or the qualities or the temperaments or the structural limitations that you want to kind of overcome, and to write them out, and sometimes even to burn them, right? To take some kind of a metal bowl to go out into your yard and to do a little bit of a ceremony at the full moon where you burn the things that you're letting go of and you're thanking the universe and celebrating the things that you have. And that would suffice for a full moon ritual. I think that's kind of a perfect sort of full moon feeling, full moon ritual. Aside from getting together with your girlfriends, having a lovely time, like being with your family, being in a state of celebration, just feeling the fullness of the energy and riding it. That's also a nice way to experience the full moon. But as we grow into the next cycle, the full moon will give you a hangover. You'll find for the couple of days after the full moon, it's generally a hangover. it's a little hangover.
Sorry, I shouldn't have injected a joke there, but yeah.
Hangovers, you're right. Hangovers are a wonderful opportunity to kind of go slow, right? And as we grow past the fullness of the cycle, and we're kind of a little wired on the energy, we're high on the energy, we're at the culmination point. As we come past it, after a couple of days, we enter the first waning crescent, which is the next yin phase. So what you want to this discord will not go away for another day or two. Okay. It will stay. And then as we progress into the weekend, we're wanting to take a lot of care with ourselves. And as we grow into the next yin cycle, there are some really important things that we can do to facilitate that, other than self-care and receptivity. Some of the things that I kind of teach in my moon school are to open up and notice what the universe is offering you. Okay. The waning crescent is a time of receiving. It's a time of letting go and opening up to gifts that are wanting to come in, or offers that are wanting to be made. There's a displacement of energy that's happening. And I'm going to get into way more detail when we sit
I'm
together.
just wondering, can you just share your infographic that you shared on the first day for those of us that aren't as familiar with if you have it on hand?
I didn't open it up. Hold on a second.
My bad for.
No, it's okay.
I'm a visual learner, and it just made so much more sense to me when I saw that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And just actually seeing like the different 8 stages.
Yes, I've got it right here. Hold on.
Oh.
If you can give me the host ability, I will be grateful. And hold on a second. I'm just kind of organizing it on my screen. Oh gosh. I just wasn't quite ready. Hold on.
Well, I could ask in the meantime, does anybody have any questions? Or no? Oh yes, Missy. Okay, yeah, unmute yourself. Yeah.
Well, this may be preempting things, but it just feels like there's so much doom and gloom in the world right now, and there's so little to be feeling optimistic and hopeful.
Yeah.
And I understand, as you both stated early on, that this is applying to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Are there signs coming that there's going to be a shift to something more positive and hopeful, something we can feel optimistic about?
That's a really interesting question, Elizabeth. I don't want to give you any. I think that the hope we're looking for is a hope inside ourselves and in the collective at a higher level. We need to grab onto some kind of faith that there is something beyond it. That's all. I mean, that's what I'm receiving. I'm receiving like to communicate and connect upward. And that's been the guidance that I've gotten all day today in my meditation and my work and when I'm looking at the astrological. In terms of the future, you know what? I'll be really honest with you. I think we're coming into a pretty difficult year and a half. I don't think 2022 is going to be better, but I do think it's going to bring things to the surface. And I believe it's going to bring a lot of emotion to the surface and a lot of our own inner psychological stuff that we really need to get rid of, or we really need to transform so that we can all feel safe to be here together. Because there is just so much divisiveness and so much conflict right now, right? And there's so much arguing that's almost like a boiler pot is about to burst. And so that boiler pot needs to burst. Like we really do need to release the steam, we really do need to bring things up and confront them. This is perhaps a much bigger topic, but the nodes of the moon connotate the current collective zeitgeist. And they're changing to Scorpio and Taurus in December. And I think that when we move into a Scorpio-Taurus cycle, we're going to be trying to find peace within chaos and trying to confront a lot of kind of the darkness in order to find safety and to find normalcy again, right? So the next year and a half will be kind of like a journey back toward simplicity, toward normalcy, toward security, and toward groundedness. But anytime you've got a South Node in Scorpio, I tell you, there's going to be some dark stuff that comes up.
Oh, that's wonderful news. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I don't want to be a rain on your parade, but when you ask me such a direct question, I have to just be honest. Like, I haven't given it a lot of thought, but that's kind of what comes to my mind. Did you want me to share the screen? Yeah, here's the graphic. So here we are at full moon, right? When the energy culminates, there's a time of coming to the top of the mountain. All of your efforts have been in some way, they've come to light. So this is a time of celebration. Everything is illuminated. It's a peak energy. And you truly see what needs to be released in order to step ahead, right? What do you need to let go of to move ahead beyond limitations, declaring your new self? And as we move into the yin cycle, we are going to be, it's not the yin, it's the waning gibbous. I said waning crescent, I was mistaken. The waning gibbous, there's going to be a tiny little bite out of the moon, all right, probably by Friday. And this is a very tricky cycle because we are in this hangover, right, of activity. So as we move from the intensity of the yang of the full, we need to like deliberately move into yin in the waning gibbous. It's not always super comfortable, but one of the things that, you know, self-care and you know, doing Graydon's ritual, body rituals, self-care rituals can really help. And one of the things that the waning gibbous is about is learning how to start turning out to the universe again. So we've been at the culmination of our full self at the full moon. And as we move back toward the new, we're moving back toward the darkness of ourself, or the interior of ourself, or the mystery of ourself. And so what I like to say about the waning gibbous is it's a time to sit back and gently receive what is being given to you, to recognize beauty and reward. There's a universal acknowledgement of your impact and your progress if you are willing and capable of receiving it. And life will gift you at this time in this cycle. So this weekend, I would love for everybody to just stay present with that. Can you receive? Is there something coming in? Can you say yes to it? Can you relax enough to kind of blur the edges of your boundaries and open up to more? Is there a way that you can take in this weekend, and that you can also cultivate discernment? I mean, if you're flooded, you don't have to say yes to everything, but whatever it is that comes, cultivating gratitude. There's a gratitude component to the waning gibbous that is really important. Understanding that you're happy being who you were created to be, and affirming your perfection just as you are, coming cleanly into your body and into the moment. And so with that, those are the next two cycles that will bring us into the last quarter. And that will be our next and last meeting next week. Okay. So I think the main message here is that we're starting to let go, right? There's a fullness and completion, and then we have to move back into emptiness. So this is the process of coming down off the mountain. This is the process of reintegrating with the universal consciousness, with flow, with the mystery and all of that. So yeah, does that make sense to everybody?
I think it does. But I did want to you talked about you said the word moment, and that reminded me about how you talked about your morning moment of truth. Yeah. And just how you use your morning ritual to ground yourself. And again, set intention or connect with the seed that you planted, and just how that does nourish oneself. So I just wanted to ask the group, or for those of you who tuned in before, if you've actually being mindful about creating a moment of truth within your self-care. And if you haven't, that's okay. I have been enjoying that. I find that I probably spend more time in the evening, like doing a little more self-care on my face. So my moment of truth is more grounding when I wind down than in the morning, but both are good. And so if there's anybody who has something to share, that's great. If not, that's okay. I would just then ask you, Sara.
Well, my moment of truth has been very intense these last few days. I'll just say that. And so it's been very important, right, for me to kind of hold myself. I find that the cycle leading up into the full moon is always my hardest one. Like you get confronted with so many limitations, or so many bad parts of you. I don't think any part of us is bad. I think what I mean to say is you get really presented with the places in you that don't believe that you can achieve what you want, and that kind of limit you in some way. And so there's a confrontation with yourself that's just kind of omnipresent in that, like, build up to the full moon. It's a time that yin cycle is all about trust and having faith and going beyond those limitations. Then at the fullness, we see what actually is, and then we start to come back toward new again. So I don't know, I've been just reminding myself, I just use my morning meditation, or use my time in front of the mirror after my shower. I just use it to close my eyes and just to kind of hold the focus, and to reflect on how I am responding and how life is talking to me. You know, it's also a perfect time if you're alone. I mean, I have 3 children, so my mornings are pretty crazy, right? Having to get them out of the house and get them ready for school. So I don't have time to journal in the morning. I'll do that at night. At night, I'll reflect. But in the morning, just that self-care ritual is so grounding and so nourishing. And I'm just finding it a wonderful complement to the moon stuff. It's really nice.
Yeah, I'm also noticing, I'm just skimming the comments. So Missy, yeah, I think that's a very simple, realizable thing to little practice, small practice. Like we can't practice overt self-care every moment of the day, but we can, these tiny little rituals that help to keep us in sync and grounded, I find are really helpful. And I'm conscious of the time because technically we're supposed to be done at 1 and it's 1:02 now. We have a few minutes for questions, but I also realized we didn't mention that we do have a special offer today. Each Moonbite session, we are offering something special in the Yang product. I don't know if you have it in front of you, Sarah. The Yang product that we're featuring today is PhytoClear, which is a robust combination of 2 types of botanical retinol, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. So it's invigorating. It's great for cellular turnover, and that really helps 2 skin types in particular, any congestion or dullness. It's also very light cream, so if you are dealing with some, again, congestion or even blemishes, that can be helpful. But really, it's retinol is typically an anti-aging ingredient, and this double whammy of the 2 vegan botanical retinols that we're using are really effective with that. So I had a birthday last week, and let's just say I'm using PhytoClear a little more often. And I'm definitely becoming more interested in cellular turnover and that pro-aging. I'm definitely not into anti-aging, but I am into trying to just be the best version of myself. And certainly our skin is how we present to people. So that's just my personal tip. And then also Face Glow, which some of you may be familiar with, I think at least a couple of you, is a great way to bring like light and fire and energy into your daily life. It's tinted, it's got a little mica, it wakes up your skin. And so I really resonate with the Yang energy. And on that note, over to you, Natalie. So what is our offer?
Yes, so right now until tomorrow, we're offering 30% off of Face Glow, PhytoClear, or Full Moon Serum. So these are it's a beautiful blend of products, and I personally use Face Glow daily as my makeup.
And you are glowing.
Thank you. And it's just in the chat. I've added the link and the discount code.
Yeah. So just to be clear, like these are discounts that are not normally available. Like these are deep discounts. We did have a sale recently, and we didn't offer a discount, quite like that. So that's why this is a special group. We're honored to have you. And we just want to thank you and give back for learning with us and being a part of our community. And this is a way I hope that you can bring more self-care and energy and groundedness into your life. I've certainly experienced that myself. So, and I also think, sorry, Natalie, did you already put the link for Sarah's Moon School? You might well have. Oh yeah, you did?
I have not actually. So
okay.
Grab that link.
And Sarah, remind me. So it's it's in the evening and on what day of the week?
It's going to be Wednesday evenings at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
So I think that's a good time because it's not too late. like if you still want to go to bed at, you know, before 10 o'clock, you can.
Yeah.
And it's I think these will be like really nice meditative, like good things to be thinking about before you go to sleep.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So yeah.
I
So,
wanted to make it accessible to Pacific Standard Time Zone as well, so
Right.
people could come outside of work hours.
right.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And it
Unfortunately, some of my European clients can't join us, so I will be offering like a recording. I'll be sending out recordings.
nice.
I've had quite a few requests for that. So there's the link again if anyone's interested in joining.
Yeah, and it's $80 for the whole it's 4 sessions, is that right?
It is. It's four evenings. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So and I think probably a really great group, probably a little bit bigger than this. But I think like there'll probably be a lot of like-minded people to support you in your journey. Yeah. So
We have some product questions in the
sure. Okay.
So I'm actually just going to go first to Susan. It's quite a specific product question, but it's regarding the SPF in Face Glow. She acknowledges that there are regulations around talking about SPF, but can you provide any more information about how much SPF is roughly in Face Glow?
Yeah. Oh gosh, this is like the ongoing challenge. This is a project that has been in the docket for quite a while, and our chemist has been extremely involved in logistics and operations and supply chain issues. Thank you, COVID, as well as getting our new product ready to launch, which is coming very soon.
That's another question. What's the new product?
But let me go back to Face Glow. So it's formulated with non-nano zinc and titanium dioxide and a lot of environmentally protective oils and extracts like raspberry, cherry kernel, pumpkin, like zinc rich oils and extracts, and then smithsonite as well, which is definitely known for its ability to deal with UVA and UVB rays. But I believe that probably it's between a 22, a 30. So I think it's good for day-to-day activities. It is what I use on a regular daily basis. But if I also want to be careful that, if you're going to be out in direct sun, or you're going to be hiking, or you're going on vacation, you're probably better to get like a high SPF that is absolutely certified. So I don't want to misrepresent the product. I think that when we finally go through the testing and we tweak the formula, because there's been some really interesting just ingredients that have come up in the last while, like actual mineral zinc, but in a clear format, because nobody wants like the white cast. So there is some real innovation going on in this space. So I don't think we would launch a product unless it could be at least a 30. So just, that's an honest answer. And I hope that that's helpful.
Yes, thank you for your comment in the chat, Susan. That was very helpful, Graydon. And the other question was, what is our new product being released?
When or what?
What is it?
What is it? Okay, I guess we haven't. Should I let the cat out of the bag? What do you think, Natalie? Any ideas?
I mean, I think that this is a trusting enough group.
Okay, this is truly insider information. I can give you a hint, or I can just tell you about it. I don't even have a bottle.
That was Natalia. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. It was Natalia who asked the question.
Okay, hey Natalia. I don't know if I see you on here, but so it really takes a lot of thought and effort to launch a new product because there's so much skincare out there and just so many repetitive things that, you know, to launch another serum, and yes, it is a serum. Its name is Moon Boost. You can, if it's not like readily available on the site, but there is a hidden page. So if you want to go log on to graydonskincare.com and put Moon Boost in the search tab, you'll find the page. So what it is, it's a multivitamin serum. And that is something that, at least as far as I have been able to research, is not available anywhere else. There's lots of individual vitamin serums like vitamin A, you know, niacinamide serums. Oh, you have a prototype.
I've got it.
Yeah,
it doesn't have an official label on it, but it's really beautiful.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah.
There's vitamin C serums, you know, so we've created a serum that marries all the important skin vitamins together. So vitamins A, B, C, D, E, F, and K. It's a bit of a mouthful, and it's been tricky because, you know, they don't always play nice together, like from a formulation point of view. Like there can be separation. Sometimes there's interactions between different vitamins. And so it has been at least a 2-year process. And I'd say that we probably had 50 different prototypes. But really my goal at Graydon is to, this might sound really corny, so forgive me, but I want to be able to give people good skin days every day. People talk about good hair days, but you know, my jam is good skin days. And there's only so much time and money that people have. So if I can create a product that can really be impactful for your skin and like deeply nourish your skin in a way that other products can't, then I hope that I can do my job in allowing you to be the best version of yourselves and to actually enjoy living in your skin. So that's why I'm focusing on the multivitamin aspect. Everybody's familiar with multivitamins from a supplement point of view. And there's some good ones on the market and some not so good ones on the market, but they're very effective. And they help to nourish your body in a way that if you weren't taking supplements, but it's an all-in-one thing. So, you know, if you have sluggish skin sometimes, or you're feeling your skin is a little dull and you want to like wake your skin up, and also have it feel hydrated, but not like super oily, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with Moon Boost. It is an oil serum. 1 or 2 drops is really all you need. And there's this secret sauce, which I'm giving it all away today. We'll eventually talk about it. There's a small amount of titanium dioxide that's been emulsified into the formula. So it's almost translucent looking. And titanium dioxide is a powder. It also has sun protection, as you probably know. And so it gives the texture of the serum like just a bit of a grip. So it doesn't feel like an oil slick unless you put way too much on. And I think that it's the texture of it that feels really different. Some people, people that we've tested this with, actually talk about it feeling like a silicone without it being a silicone. So it's got this smooth sort of texture and isn't sticky.
Yeah. I have to say it's absolutely gorgeous, and also happens to just smell amazing. And I'm
It does smell good. Yeah.
We have another question. This is actually, I'm just gonna I know we're at 1:15, so we'll try to wrap it up with this question. Sara, this is a question from Margaret. Do you use any talismans or touchstones in your moon practices? I've been drawn to crystals lately.
Oh my goodness. Well, I wish I could just show you my altar. Of course, I use all kinds of things. I don't think I use them like specifically in terms of an intentional use of one stone or one crystal. I just am really drawn to the beauty of creation. And I find crystals and stones and feathers and nature to be the most beautiful thing on planet Earth. So yeah, whenever I find anything like that, I add it to my collection. Oh my goodness, I'm really just adoring some amazing crystals that I got this summer in Guatemala. I have them around me all the time. And yeah, you can use them in your moon practice. You can use them to ground and center. I like Graydon at the very beginning gave us the that activation mudra, right? To be able to kind of organize your prayer. A crystal can do the same thing for you. It can help you focus, you know, it can help you stay in alignment with what you want, with what your intention is, or with what your focus is. So yeah, bless you. Enjoy that, Margaret. I think that's it's an amazing thing to get into relationship with.
Huh.
Yeah.
So I think we went 2 minutes over, but I think we did pretty well. If anybody else has any other questions, like, please don't hesitate to email us. I'm sure all of you get our emails, I hope. We're also easily reached through direct messages on Facebook and Instagram, or you can just, does anybody need our contact information or Sarah's contact information? Or
I've sent pretty much everyone an email here,
Yeah.
so anyone can reply back to that too.
Sorry, I think Missy's trying to talk, and you're muted. Were you trying to say something, Missy? No. Okay. Okay, all good. All right. Well, on that note, thank you very much. Enjoy your discount. It's only for 24 hours, Natalie. Is that right?
24 hours.
Okay. All right. So next week is our last week, and then you'll have the opportunity to participate in Moon School if you want to delve deeper, and who knows what could happen in the future with me.
Or just to continue to follow the cycle, right? And it's, so just as a reminder, we're now on the denouement of the cycle. So we're on the collapse, and the energy will be displaced from the personal, vibrant selfness to the universal and to kind of more of the spiritual. So the next 2 weeks are a sort of a falling down and falling back and falling inward. And enjoy this weekend. Remember to receive. If anything comes to you that wants to give, say yes and bring it in and feel grateful. I hope the hangover of the full moon is palatable. It's definitely hitting me full on already. But I hope you weather the storm and come through on the other side to find some relaxation this weekend. So we'll see you next Wednesday.
Yes, next Wednesday at 12:30. Bye. Namaste. Thank you.